Welcome back to G&G's Garage. In this episode we are continuing the teardown of the HSV Clubby ready for restoration. As part of that we need to remove the gearbox, and let's get started by removing the center console. I have moved the passenger seat back so I can get to the screws that are on that side of the center console. Then you'll see me move the chair forward, and there's a screw at the back which I've now undone. Then I'll pull up the sock over the gear stick so I can access the plastic shroud around where the gear stick is. Now there's two screws holding that in and some clips, so you see me unscrewing that. Then I can pull it up so I can get it to the harness for the window switch. Then there's a few more screws to undo so I can get the little, I'm not sure what you would call it, it's like a sort of cabinet that holds things out. Now I'm unscrewing the rest of the center console. If you'd like to see more of this project, hit that subscribe button and the bell notification, and also click the like button. Then there's also, I've got to remove the glove box, so that's just got a pin that slides out one end and then you rock it out. Then it allows me to get to the rest of the screws on that side of the center console, which I can pull the plastic cover off to get to the last screws holding it together. There's also a couple of bolts in the actual console itself, which you'll see me shortly undo. Now I move on to the driver's side and just repeat what I did on the passenger side. So you see me now unscrewing that bit of cover plastic, and then that allows me access to, you can see a little screw there that holds it all together. Now, like I said before, there's a couple of bolts holding it in the center, so I'm pulling all the stuff that's in there out so I can access those bolts. Once I've got those bolts out, I'm able to lift the whole center console away. Just make sure all harnesses and clips are out, any electrical. Then I can put what I took out of the center console back in, and then I can lift it out of the way. Just be careful, there is the airbag module in the center of the car there, and you don't want to knock that. Put the glove box back in for now, and then I can pull off the gear knob with its sock, which with this one is just a bit of a wiggle. It's just a wedge fit, so you see me wiggling it and off it comes. Now to get the boot off, I have to actually now get into under the car, and because the bolts for the boot are actually under the car above the gearbox. So you see me now, while I'm under here, I'm going to drain the oil from the gearbox. So I just pull out the plug, making sure I've got a drip tray there to catch as much oil as possible. And there you go, it's nice red color, that's a good color. Also at the end of the drain plug is a magnet that has, so I can see if there's any metal filings. In this case there's not, so the gearbox is in a good condition. And this is a manual gearbox, so if there's any metal shards on there, that means there's bad gears in there. Well, fortunately there's none, so, and the oil looks good. I'm just cleaning up a bit of spillage. Now I'm removing the clips to the harness that goes to the sensors in the gearbox. One's the reverse sensor and the other one is the speed sensor. Once I've done that, I actually move on to unbolting the gearbox itself from the bow housing. Now in this particular setup, the bolts are actually on the outside that go to the bow housing. In some gearboxes, the bow housing bolts are actually inside, which then you actually got to take the bow housing bolts out of the engine itself. Fortunately, we don't have to actually do this one with this gearbox. Now this gearbox is a MM6 variant of the T56 gearbox. Now this gearbox only came out in a few cars. It's a stronger, had just a few stronger gears put in it. That's to my understanding. So while I'm here, I'm going to unbolt all the bolts except for two. I'll just leave two in that are easily accessible once I come to put the jack under the gearbox to remove it from the bow housing. So you see me now bringing in the jack. Now I'm just preparing now to undo the hose or the pipe to the slave cylinder of the clutch. So I've put a container under to catch the clutch fluid, which in this case is actually .4 brake fluid. Making sure I don't get it on any paint because it can be quite corrosive. So I'm undoing the hose now so that when I come to move the gearbox out, it can come away freely. And now I'm just taking off those bolts to the boot for the gear selector. Now there's two that are very easily accessible. Then the other two I will actually have to lower the back of the gearbox slightly to get to those. To do that, I will need to put the jack under the cross member and unbolt the cross member, lower the jack a bit, then that, so you see me doing that now. Bring the jack up. Making sure the jack is in the middle of the cross member while I unbolt the cross member. Once those are bolted, you can see me lower the gearbox just enough so I can get to those last bolts on the boot. Takes a little bit as it is a tight squeeze up there, even with the gearbox lowered. Once that's out, I've actually realized I need to take out more of the dash, so I'm actually taking the dash out now because the metal going around the boot won't actually go past the dash, and it's all joined, it's all one, so I've got to pull the whole entire thing out. So you see me doing that, and there's quite a few screws. I have a little bucket there that I put all the screws in. Then I'll go on the other side. I'm going to have to take the glove box out again and take out all the surroundings for the glove box, the top of the glove box there under the passenger airbag. Also going to have to remove the center head unit as well. Well, not remove it totally, just enough to slide it out to get the plastic surround away. While I'm at it, I'm also removing the climate control unit, which just comes out with a couple of harness clips. Now there is a lot of screws, so make sure that I'm making sure that I keep track of them, because I don't want to lose any coming to put it back together. It's very easily to forget or to lose parts, especially with a big project like this. So you'll notice I keep track of all the screws that come out. So you can see the top of the glove box now coming away as I'm unscrewing all the plastic surrounds. Now there's one little screw on the side that I was missing there, trying to figure it out, and then working out there's just one on the side, but I didn't actually have to take it out, so I actually ended up leaving it because I could see there was enough room for me to wiggle the plastic to get that boot off. So you see now the boot coming past, and now I got full access to the gear selector, which now I proceed to unbolt so I can get the gearbox past. Now this is not the standard gear selector for this car. I actually changed it out earlier when I first actually purchased this vehicle with the Rip Shift race gear selector. So it's actually a solid gear selector. The standard one is a linkage. So you see me still unbolting. It's an Allen key, but it takes a bit to go because there's not much room for the bolts. There's two bolts that go through holding it together into the gearbox. And I even have to jack up the gearbox again just to give a bit more room. And there you go, once it's off, we've got all, it can now pass the body as the gearbox is lowered out. Back under the car, I'm bolting up the cross member so I can remove the jack. Once the jack is removed, I'll put some ratchet straps around the gearbox and a block of wood to hold the gearbox when to support the gearbox with the jack underneath when I come to pull the gearbox out. So now I'm just lowering the jack and removing it. Just making sure that all the gearbox bolts are out, all but two. And now you can see me sizing up the block of wood, making sure I've got one that's the right size to fit under the gearbox. Because the gearbox actually doesn't have anything flat, so that's why I'm using the block of wood to create a flat surface for the jack to mount to go on. And then putting the straps on just to make sure the gearbox doesn't roll off. You want to be very careful because it's a very heavy gearbox and you don't want it to fall on you. Once I've got the straps all ready, you'll see me bring the block of wood and start hooking the straps together and tightening it up. Just adjusting them, making sure it's in the right spot so it's everything central. And then I can join up the straps and start ratcheting it together. It was a bit tricky getting that first one in, but once that's in, it actually supports the piece of wood while I put the second strap over. Now I'm sure there are adapters for jacks for gearboxes, but for what I have available, this is the safest and the best way that I could get the gearbox onto the jack. So now you can see me bringing the jack in, lifting it back up, and trying to make sure that where I'm putting it is in the center of the weight of the gearbox, so that when I pull it off, the gearbox doesn't just rock off. So I'm just double checking, you can see me double checking, making sure everything's central, everything's correct, and now pulling out those last two bolts to the bow housing. I'm also pulling out the bolts to the cross member as well. So everything should be coming undone now, ready to pull the gearbox off, which will be a monumental achievement. Right, all the bolts are out now. It's now time to start lowering and slowly shimmering it out. Being very careful as I do it to make sure that the gearbox doesn't all of a sudden just fall out or fall on me. So you can see me shimmering away, just slowly moving it up and down with the jack, and also wiggling it back and forward to separate it from the clutch and engine. Takes a bit of time, and slowly I can see it separating. And it's best taking your time with this. Now I'm taking now there's enough gap for me to get a spanner in between, and I'm slowly wedging the gearbox apart from the bow housing. Just always double checking that it's all correct and not going to off balance. And there we go, it's apart. So I'm slowly pulling it and bringing it back down. And there we are, the gearbox separated. Putting the bolts back in so I don't lose them. Now I've got to figure out how to get it out from under the car, because the gearbox is a bit taller than I can get the car up, especially on being on the jack. And I'm not game enough to pull it, try and lift it off the jack while under the car. So I shorten the jack's handle so I got a bit more room to move around, and I'm looking that the best way through is actually through past the front passenger wheel. So you see me removing the wheel, and I'll try and bring the gearbox through. Slowly maneuvering it, and then realizing it's not going to come quite through. So I'm not sure what to do, and then I'm thinking, hang on, there's a bit more room if I take the brake disc off. So I'm now taking the caliper off and the brake disc, and that gives me just enough room to slide the gearbox past. And out it comes. Wow, what an achievement. Big relief that it's out now. You see me just putting it away now. And thank you so much for watching this episode. Don't forget to subscribe and like this video to see more.